Good evening, folks. If you are watching after the fact, then please do feel free to skip ahead to qualifying as we get the rest of the drivers into the lobby and all of the streams set up for you. We're finally back for some F1 action here in APPF1 Tier 2, and it will be with you moments soon.
Gosh, it's so hot in here.
Is it Hungary or Roaring?
Hungary. Yeah, formation lap is off, so keep aware of that.
Little manny man watching from work. Very naughty that is. Get back to work.
No. Get off work, come back home and race.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, get what you're doing. We're doing watching. You should be in the bloody car. Gosh. Where are your priorities at, little manny man? It's definitely not with APPF1. That is for sure. That is a yellow card, good sir. Bordering on red. Anyway, good evening everyone and welcome back to APPF1 Tier 2 for tonight's dose of racing action. I'm SUMO, your commentator this evening, and I am joined, as always, by my amazing co-commentator, Ghost. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back with Tier 2. Palang has left the session already, which is a great start. But, no, it's great to be back. It's been a very, very long time. So hopefully we can have a good start to the season. Don't mind the clock at the top. That's just a spectator bug. It will start, I promise.
Yes, there we go. Lots of bugs. One bug in particular which still annoys me is the starting grid camera angle bug, which is really becoming a problem now. But anyway, Codemasters don't care about that, and I've still got things to read out. So we're back at long last then, and it's finally time for APPF1 Tier 2 to get started on F123, or F123, if you want to call it that. It's the 8th season of Tier 2, and we quite... Is it the 8th season? It is the 8th season.
Yeah, Season 8.
Season 8, yes, the 8th season of Tier 2, and we quite fittingly head to Hungary for a race at the Hungaroring ahead of the real-life Hungarian Grand Prix. 4.381 kilometres of narrow circuit that has 16 corners and few chances to overtake awaits us. with DRS being predominant down the main straight, expect to see drivers making moves into turn number 1. It's the first race, Ghost, and a tough circuit like the Hungary not only sets the stage for the coming season, but puts the drivers in the hot seat right off the bat, don't you think?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a tricky start to the season. We've got Hungary and then the 2 new tracks to start off the season, and but it's produced some great racing so far. You commentated on Tier 1 Sumo, and Elite was a fantastic race as well. Absolutely brilliant to be part of. So hopefully the same continues in Tier 2. Obviously, numbers not what we would want, but that is the way it can go with Tier 2 and the starts of seasons and a new game as well. Yeah, it's looking at you, Manny Man. But no, it's okay. We'll keep working on getting new people. We've already got, I mean, Walter. I'm going to go Waiter. Waiter just joined today and is already in. So you know, we're slowly trickling in new members, and hopefully we can get back to decent grids in Tier 2 as the season progresses. But for now, let's just have a fun race around Hungary.
Yes, let's. And well, we'll take a little look toward the well, I'd say the standings, but it's not the standings, it's the lineups then, as things have changed. In the Red Bulls now we have JBS Steve and Krauser back to a team that they know fairly well from their days, or at least Krauser does in his days with LB in the Red Bull outfit, and the preceding incident as well at Monza, if anyone remembers back then, one of the highlights of that particular season. Then there's Sox and Sirocco, they're taking up the Mercedes cars. Then we have Frakma and Dosey. I don't think Dosey's here, but they're in the McLarens.
It's not.
Then we have Robsu and Tyr in the Aston Martins. Robsu not here this evening, that is going to be a shame. Then there's TTV Max, who is quite the ghost when it comes to racing with APPF1, and E-Waiter. They're in the Alpha Tauris, and then in the Williams cars is Muhiti and Mr. J-Man as well. We've also got Lawrence coming in as a reserve driver. There's Scott out there in the Alpine as well. Keep an eye on him. Another veteran of APPF1, and also I think the league owner of ESRL, I suppose.
Yes.
Coming over for a race over here in APPF1.
Season 3 sprint champion as well, don't forget.
Yes, don't forget. Cannot forget about Season 3 sprint champion. It's a very forgettable season for me, considering that I competed in 2 races and scored points in neither of them. It's very hard to do in APPF1. As Mr. J-Man now goes into the top spot with a 17.2, and Ghost, well, you won around here in Tier 1. And, well, you got any advice for the drivers out there today?
I mean, based on how I won on Friday, it's qualify 9th, apparently, is the first step to winning. But no, it's all about consistency around this track. If you can be consistent in the race and you can get a decent qualifying position, who knows what could happen, because mistakes are rife around this circuit, especially those high-speed corners like turn 4, 5. I can't remember if the
4.
kink after 1 counts as a corner, but either way, you've got to be so careful at those kinds of corners, especially if you're going side by side, and incidents can easily happen. So as long as you're consistent and you stay up there decently in quali, then you've got a great shot at winning. And Tyr has gone fastest with a 16.8 in the Aston Martin. Crozer's coming to the line as well. He's only down in 6th, but Frakma up in 4th as well. That's good from the newbie. E-Waiter is going to have to go again for another attempt, but yeah, our 2 newbies on the grid, Frakma and E-Waiter. Hopefully they can do well today.
Well, Ghost, we'll try and get onto the predictions at some point today, but I actually wanted to go over last season's predictions, because we went over them. Well, we didn't go over them, we made them, but we didn't go over the predictions themselves. And well, we went for a split decision on the Constructors' Championship last season. You went Ferrari, I went Red Bull, and I'm glad I did go with Red Bull, because it turned out that they were the winners last time, so there's 1 point to me. Then we have Drivers' Championship, Lawrence or Darth. Neither of us were right. It was LB who took number 2. Nobody saw that coming. LB must have, though, with the way he was charping on throughout the season. Most pole positions. I don't know who that went to, but Ghost went with Darth. I went with LB.
I can get back to you on that. Let's see.
As well as most podiums, and there was Ghost going with Lawrence. I went with Rob Sue. And so then most laps led, we both went with Darth.
Most poles was Robsu with 4. Darth Nihilus had 3. Most podiums, that's going to be Lawrence, I believe. Let me just count. It's a joint first between Lawrence and LB on that front, both with 6 podiums. But I think Lawrence wins out there because the only 3 races he didn't get a podium, he DNF'd. So
there you go. Look at that. As Scott improves his lap time, not enough to improve his position, but yes, that was enough about last season, though. I think we're just waiting on the laps led, but we'll get back to that in a little while. We're going to focus now back on qualifying, as we're approaching halfway through. It's the early sessions, the first laps have come in, and it's Tier on the top of the time standings. Who would have said that come this time last season? Certainly not me. But Tier is no slouch. He is one of the more experienced drivers out on APPF1. He certainly does know what he's doing, and I actually joined them out there as Scott goes for a spin in Sector 2. I actually joined them out there for the pre-season race. Hello Rick in the chat, where I came second out of the Tier 2 lot. So
yeah, it was a good race. You did very well. I think you deserved to win it. Just got unlucky.
Yeah, unlucky. Poor strategy as well.
Yeah, true.
Should have pitted for the soft tyres during the safety car. But I've got things falling down behind me, and it's really distracting as I want to try and sort of sit back a little bit. But we're there now. But we'll go for the second lot of runs, and who we liking? Who we preferring at the moment? As Palang retires, he's crashed at turn 5.
Oh dear. Okay, so he'll start at the back. Tier goes on the grass as he tries to get as good an exit as possible out of the final corner to start his lap, but he completely screws it up, and that's going to cost him at least a 10th going down this straight towards turn 1. So not a good start to Tier's next lap, but he is currently on pole. Everyone else on an out lap at the moment. Lawrence just coming to start his next attempt, but I can give you an insight onto where that lap would have put Tier in Tier 1. So 16.8, that would have put him around about 12th, which is it's basically around the time that Lawrence did in Tier 1. So interesting stuff, and Muhiti as well was around there. So this could be a really good fight for pole, but that's a very strong opener from Tier.
Yeah, it is. There's plenty more time from a lot of the drivers out there as well, and we know how fast Muhiti can be. Look back to a couple of seasons ago when himself and Pommy Alex were fighting over a championship in their Ferraris. Long gone are those days, but we're hoping that we see a return to form from the Turkish driver, as he did put on an absolute spectacle when he was at his best. It looks like Lawrence is actually going on a second preparation lap. From what I can see, so you'll wait for a lap time from him. Let's see what else is. I think we got one of Williams on a lap.
Yeah, Mr. J-Man was 1.5 tenths up in Sector 1. So if he can nail Sector 2, he could have a shot at provisional pole here. Across Sector 2 line, 3.5 tenths up. So he needs another 10th in Sector 3, and he will take provisional pole. He's a good qualifier, Mr. J-Man. Just needs to keep it together in races a bit more often. Obviously, he had a great chance at the title in Season 6, but then we had the incident in Baku. But across the line he comes, and it is provisional pole by 75 thousandths of a second. Mr. J-Man takes it at 16.7. But Muhiti's improving as well.
Muhiti out there improving. Let's see where the Williams teammate can go. Can it be a Williams front row lockout, at least provisionally at the moment? Let's see. Muhiti round the final corner. They look fairly put together and quick. It's a 16.8, so he just stays behind Tier by 0.04 of a second. Maybe that exit wasn't so good on there, but there's definitely more time to be found, as they're the top 3 drivers who have found their way into the 1 minute 16s. What's Scott up to? He's preparing to go on a fast lap, so we'll come back to the Alpine driver at the moment. What about Lawrence, the reserve? He has invalidated his lap time, so he'll have to go around again. Frakma, new to APPF1 Tier 2, Polish driver, I believe.
Yes.
And, well, I had a little bit of a battle with him, I think, during the race out there. He seems fairly put together. Had a few little fights with him as well in some other community races. Not a bad driver, very aware. Is he going to be fast in qualifying? Well, he's at 17.5 at the moment. He's 2 tenths up, coming past the Sector 2 line now. So this could see him in amongst the top 4 here. Maybe even in amongst the top 3 if he can nail this final sector.
Yeah, he's looking to get onto the second row past Lawrence in the Haas. Here comes Frakma round the final corner and across to the line. What's it going to be? It's a 17.3. It's not quite enough to unseat Lawrence from P4. And JB just behind, in fact, unseats him even from P5 as the Red Bull driver improves quite substantially. E-Waiter into the pits. Crozer on a lap as well. I'm not sure if he's improving or not. No, he's got no front wings, so he's definitely not improving. As Scott comes across the line and improves to 7th with a 17.2. Sorry, a 17.5. So not a bad effort from Scott. It's looking like a fairly close grid here.
Ooh, Krauser having a little bit of a exploration onto the grass. There's one thing... Well, if there's one thing you don't want to do on F123, it's put a single wheel on the grass. Especially if you're in a braking zone, because the moment you do, that is when you're going to lose the car and you're not catching it, or at least good luck catching it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's certain corners which are ruthless for that. Sorry, not Parabolica. No, it is Parabolica at Monza comes to mind, because the grass is much closer on the left than you feel like it should be, and it's very easy to stick a wheel on there under braking and you are straight round. So tricky manoeuvring around a circuit like this at points, because there's grass everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, one corner comes to mind for me, one that I've always struggled with, the grass on the braking zone. It's Brazil, the outside, because that's where you are on the circuit, isn't it? And you want to run out wide for that better exit, but if you do, you're going in the grass and you're going straight on rather than taking that left-hand corner to start the lap and go down through the centre S's at the moment. But Tier's out on the track. I think he's on a lap, so let's ride along with the Aston Martin and ride on board. Deep into turn 1 he goes, and is that going to cost him a little bit of time? Perhaps. We'll see as he gets on the exit. Double DRS zone, of course, opens it up and runs 2 4. I'll hand over to Ghost. You can run us through the rest of the lap.
Yeah, Tier coming through turn 2 now and down through 3, full throttle through here, coming to the sector line now. What's it going to be for the Aston Martin driver? He's half a tenth up, which could be enough to see him on provisional pole. Not quite yet. He still needs to find some more time through the next twisty section of the track, through this right-hander, which was an insta-spin curb on the right-hand side, not anymore, and through this very, very difficult chicane. Tier looking fairly put together through here. And now this left and right-hander and this full throttle left-hander, and then how much throttle do you dare take for this right-hander? Quite a lot for Tier. He's 2.5 tenths up. This could be a fantastic effort from Tier 727 in the Aston Martin. Through the last couple corners he comes. He's just got to hook it up together and not spin it at the last point of the racetrack. Can he put it on provisional pole? Round the final corner he comes. Has he lost time? DRS open. He's gotten the lap together. It is at pole. Yes, it is a 16.5 from Tier. Great effort.
A mighty lap from the Aston Martin sees him up into pole position provisionally once again. It's a statement in these dying moments of qualifying. Only 2 minutes and 21 seconds left in the session at the moment. Who is going to come out on pole position at the end of this? We'll wait and see at the moment. But all of the drivers now out onto the circuit, except for Palang, of course, who retired early on. If you are watching, please do leave a like on the stream. Start up a conversation in the live chat as well. We'd love to hear from you. We don't bite, I promise. Much. Yes, or much. Yeah, I don't know about Ghost, but I certainly don't. But yes, do leave us a like. It does help a lot. And of course, share around the streams as well and support us. And hell, if you know any PS4 players who are wanting to play F1 23 and reckon would be around tier 2 pace, send them our way. We need more drivers.
SUMO Waiter was 9/10 up through sector 2, but he's gone deep at the final corner. Or is it? It could be just a different line. DRS open. Is he going to be anywhere near the top? Yes, 4th place for Waiter. Great final lap from the AlphaTauri driver. Muhiti comes across the line as well. I don't know if he's just starting a lap. I think that was the end of his lap, so he didn't improve. Mr. J-Man just coming to the end of his out lap, so he's about to start his final effort as well. I think he's got the most realistic chance of getting pole, but maybe Lawrence could come from nowhere as well.
Yeah, we'll see if he doesn't manage to invalidate again. I think Scott's going to be the next driver to come across the line with a time, so let's see what the Alpine can do at the moment. I've got bite wounds when I open the tier 2 live chat, says Rick. I don't know what you're talking about. I said we don't bite. Oh, there goes Scotty's round. Oh, that is a shame for him. He was on an improved lap, and well, that's his qualifying session over. And it's
Mr. J-Man's improving. He's half a tenth up through sector 1. He's going to need more than that, but it's a decent first sector for the Williams driver. Is Muhiti improving as well? He's just coming to the end of sector 2. What's it going to be? No, he's way down, so it's up to Mr. J-Man here.
Yes, it is. I'm just watching Krauser as well. He's ahead of J-Man. He's 6/10 up. He's purple to the middle sector goes. So this could be a big jump from the Red Bull. Can he get himself ahead of his teammate? Perhaps he's just got to nail this final sector. Only 3 corners, but a lot of time to be gained and lost here. And if you take the right line, you can really carry speed through this final corner. Coming up towards the line, it's going to be fairly quick from Krauser. Top 5 as he goes P5 of a 17.2 at the moment. Where is J-Man?
He just had a snap on the final corner trying to get the power down, and that was lap over. Someone else improved. I think that was Frakma, yeah, up to P6. Lawrence down to P7. He's invalidated as well, so that's where he will stay. And Muhiti is on a final lap. He's going for it. He's got 3 lap-old tyres and no ERS, so I'd be very surprised if he improved, but he's going to try it nonetheless. Why not? And he's going to be the last car to set a time. So he's coming to the sector 2 line. He did improve in sector 1 by a few hundredths.
Yes, he did. He looked fairly put together through here, but the dwindling ERS and the lack of tyre life in him, can it get him any faster? He's a 10th up, Ghost. So could he improve? Is there time to be found in all of these final corners? He's really pushing for it. This could be something absolutely spectacular if he manages to pull it off. Just one more corner now to navigate as he exits the penultimate one. Can Muhiti snatch pole position in the final moments of this session? The last driver to cross the line. He comes to the cross. He's a 16.7, which I think might put him just ahead of J-Man.
It'll be very close. I know he's P3, so it wasn't quite enough. But if he had ERS on that car, that was pole, Sumo, 100%.
Wow, what a put-together lap for Muhiti, and it looks like we've got quite the Tier 2 championship boiling over. I've always said no matter how many drivers we get in Tier 2, we still have something phenomenal. And, well, qualifying has at least delivered for now. But Tier is the man on pole position. You don't see that very often here in Tier 2, but when it does happen, it's great. Then there's J-Man alongside him on the front row with Muhiti and E-Waiter rounding up row number 2. Then we have Krauser and Frakma on row 3. Lawrence coming in P number 7 with JBS Steve 8 and Scott and Palang rounding off the rest of the grid. We're in for a great race here, I think, Ghost. With the drivers we have at the top, I think we're going to be in for quite the battle.
Absolutely, and don't take your eye off Scott either, because he said in the chat he spanned when he was 4/10 up, which would have put him well up in the sort of top 2 rows. So yeah, keep an eye on him, but so close the times up and down the board. But Tier just had the edge.
Yeah, he did. He really put together some great laps, and well, one thing about the new game is that it does tend to shuffle the drivers around. It really does bring those who perhaps struggled in last year's game back toward the front. And well, Tier, it seems, has really found some pace out there today. And can he continue that as we go on into the race? We'll wait and see. Now, there's no formation lap today, so we're going straight into the racing action. Yes, so it's going to be quite the race. What is the strategy here, guys? What do you think?
Well, it's a mix, really. I mean, if you're brave, you can go medium soft if you feel your tyre life is good enough, or the other way round. But the standard strategy is medium hard or hard medium. So keep an eye out for those. But I think we're going to have to keep an eye on the start more than the tyres to start off with, and we can look at the tyres later. Here we go.
Let's go then. We have 5 red lights for the Hungarian Grand Prix in APPF1 Tier 2, and we're underway and racing here at the Hungaroring, and it looks like a fairly decent start from Tier at the moment, although the Williams has the inside line. He's going to challenge in toward the first corner, perhaps breaks that a little bit later. Tier leaves the room as he goes through, sweeps around the outside and keeps the lead from Mr. J-Man. At the moment, there's some shuffling along the back. Lawrence is way up at the start already, challenging the Red Bull, going to the inside now of turn number 2. 2 by 2 they go as the cars ahead of them battle as well. It's a great start for racing at the moment. Round the outside of 3 we go, and Lawrence gets himself up into P4.
He does indeed, and Crozer and Muhiti fighting as well. Muhiti just plummeting down the order early on. He's been hit from behind by Frakma, so Muhiti down the order on those hard tyres. Palang and Frakma starting on softs, interestingly, and everyone else, apart from Lawrence and Muhiti, on mediums. But Tier gets off to a great start, and E-Waiter as well. Great start for the newbie.
Yeah, it is a great start, already cementing himself in there at the moment as toward the sharp end at least, but we've got a 4-car battle brewing for the lead at the moment. Can Muhiti recover his positions at the moment? He's way down in P10. He's all over the back of Palang at the moment, trying to find a way past the Alfa Romeo. Doesn't quite find it yet. They're on different tyres, of course, and Palang is going to have a lot of grip in these early stages.
Yeah, he certainly is. Tier, fastest lap to start off with, but Mr. J-Man and E-Waiter right there with him. So this could be a great battle for the lead between these 3 cars, and Lawrence, I'm sure, will be in there as well once those medium tyres start to wear out, as Palang and Muhiti go side by side. Muhiti down the inside into turn 1. A bit of contact as Palang, I think, lost the rear on the exit, and Muhiti is through. But yeah, a lot of shuffling up and down the grid, but everyone fairly clean apart from that little bit of contact at turn 6.
It's that one. It's to be expected from time to time, but we carry on. No harm done to too many drivers at the moment, and Muhiti's got a lot of work to do. He's not too far back though, so if he gets his head down, he can get himself back up in amongst it as well. And as Ghost said, Lawrence is playing the long game here, so he's going to be sitting behind them. He'll be staying with them and hoping that they have a little bit of a fight each, but for the time being, Tier's looking very put together, and I'll try and avoid saying too many good things about him at the moment, because we all know what tends to happen when we give Tier the praise that he deserves when he's on a good one. But either way, we'll keep an eye. There's many close battles in these early stages at the moment, but we've got another 32 laps, I guess, but 33 if we're counting the one we're on now of racing left.
Yeah, we certainly do. Frakma has lost DRS to Crozer, so he's going to be vulnerable from the other Red Bull of JB. Palang straight into the pits for a new set of tyres, maybe a new front wing, maybe he's retiring, who knows. But Muhiti just trying to get onto the back of the DRS train, because the DRS trains can be hugely valuable on this circuit. Although if you start getting into battles, it is very easy for trailing cars to catch back up as Palang goes onto the mediums and carries on. But the top 3 still close together, although Mr. J-Man just falls out of that 1 second range of Tier.
Yeah, he just has in the middle sector here, and Clearly, Tier got it very hooked up in the middle, and he's got no dirty air ahead of him either. He's got the clean air at the front, and that's going to really affect his efficiency through the middle sector. It's so much more twisty. It's where you need the downforce around this circuit. But Mr. J-Man's going to be coming under threat from E-Waiter, who looks incredibly fast in that AlphaTauri at the moment. And, well, Lawrence, he's just sitting behind, waiting for something to happen. Krauser's now joined in on the action as well. So we've still got 4 cars fighting, even though one of them has broke away at the moment. And, well, this could back others up into this as well if Frachma can open up the pace and get the most out of those soft compounder tyres. But we've got the DRS now. Remember, it's double DRS. The second DRS straight doesn't really add too much, so it's not too much of a problem, especially if you ask Ghost. But it certainly does give that a little boost. Palang's at a spin in the middle sector as well.
Yeah, he has. It's not been a good start to the race for Palang at all. He needs a safety car for this to be of any worth to him, but E-Waiter still on the back of Mr. J-Man, who's just trying to stay within that 1 second. It's very close between him and Tier on that sort of cusp of the 1 second range, but if Mr. J-Man can stay in the DRS, he should be safe from any sort of move from E-Waiter, as he seems better in the last corner, does Mr. J-Man, as there's a big snap from Waiter at the exit of that particular corner. So clearly both pushing hard.
Yeah,
and there's a safety
again.
car.
I think he may. I don't know if he's out. No, he's got he's hit the wall, front wing damage.
Yeah. He has caused that safety car though,
and he's not coming to the pits. Strangely enough.
Yeah. Okay, dokie. Well, that'll be an interesting predicament for those in front. Mr. J-Man has peeled into the pit for a set of hards, I would have thought. It's going to be tricky to get those to the end. They will go, but will it be worth it is the question, especially as he's going to lose a lot of track position. Lawrence stays out, the top 2 as well, Krauser as well, but Frachma, of course, he started on the soft, so this is good opportunity for him, and JB as well coming in for the hards as well. So interesting choices in terms of pitting or not pitting, but it's resulted in Tier, E-Waiter and Lawrence being the new top 3, and Krauser up to 4th.
Yeah, I think I know why Palang didn't pit. He didn't want to be lapped. Because if he got lapped, then that would have been his race over.
Yes.
So he's going to try and go around, getting in and out of the pits before the cars come back around. He'll have to be a bit quick, sharp about it, though. It's going to be hard to do with no front wing. But he should just manage it with how slow the safety car is on this year's game. It's incredibly slow. Slower than it has been before, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. On this circuit, it can be a bit of a nightmare as well. But yeah, it's certainly coming out more often, which is annoying. Even on reduced, it is on reduced, but it seems to come out for every bit of damage that anyone suffers, which is a little annoying. But yeah, we'll think about that if it continues. But yes, we do have an early safety car. Hopefully the last as well. That would be good. But Palang into the pits. I think he's going to get lapped anyway, Sumo, because he's got to change his front wing. The safety car's just coming around the last 2 corners. It's going to be close.
Yeah, let's see. Tyres are on. The front wing being changed. Safety car coming around the final corner now. Oh, he'll make it, I think. Yeah, he's made it.
Yeah, he will. Just about. So, Palang just about surviving the end of his race early on. But we'll see if he can keep it going, because obviously he's had, well, 3 or 4 laps of green flag racing and he's spun twice, so it's not a good outlook, and he's put on another set of the soft tyres as well.
He has. So maybe it was the set he started on. It must be what he's done. Wanted to maybe avoid the hards for a little bit later, perhaps. But we'll see how that goes. We're waiting for Palang then. But I mean, I know we don't have as many drivers out there, guys, but I guess we could do some predictions as we go, as we don't have, as we've got a little bit of downtime, and I'm sure with the way Tier 1 at least went, we'll have a bit more time to go as well. So let's start then with our Constructors' Championship.
Yes. Right, let's have a look. Lineups. Right. I think I'm gonna go out on a whim and say, even though Robsu isn't here today, I'm gonna say Aston Martin.
Oh, okay. Aston Martin. All right. You know what? I was also gonna go Aston Martin. However, just in the interest of being different, I'm gonna go with Red Bull.
Yeah. Those were my two that I was thinking between. But yeah, definitely.
And I think with the state of things right now, the drivers could be difficult. But what do we think?
Yeah, it's difficult to call right now because we're hoping that the grid will fill up as the season goes on. I think, well, with this initial performance from Tier, it's looking decent for him, but we can't say too many good things about him, so I won't say Tier. I'm gonna go JBS Steve.
Ooh, okay. Mr. George Russell himself. All right. You know what? I'm gonna say Tier. I know I'm gonna regret this, but
oh no! What have you done?
I know, what have I? I've cursed him for the rest of the season now. That's it. So if it does happen, Tier, that you lose the championship in any sort of way, you can only have me to blame. How about most pole positions?
Robsu.
Robsu. That's a safe bet. At the moment. You know what? I'm going to go with J-Man.
Oh. Yeah, decent pick.
Yeah, Tier 2's own quali merchant. At the moment. Then we've got most podiums.
I'm going to go JB again.
JB.
Safety car in this lap.
JB, safety car in this lap. Alright, we'll finish those predictions off afterwards, but I'm going to say Robsu for most podiums.
Okay.
Yeah,
decent pick as well.
But right, here we go then. Tier leading us off. We've swapped out the Mercedes safety car for an Aston Martin F1 car, so we're going round, and I think Tier, has he gone? No, not yet. He has gone now though, and he's caught E-Waiter a little bit by surprise at the moment as he goes around. Palang's out of the session. He's crashed in the same corner he did. I don't know what happened there. It's clearly tickled Ghost a little bit, but
I was riding on board.
Oh gosh, what happened?
He was trying so desperately to catch up to the pack because he saw they were going again, and just put too much throttle on and lost the rear.
Oh, Palang. Oh no. That is a horrible, horrible way to end your race. Shame on you for laughing at him, Ghost.
It was funny.
Right, let's hope he sees the humorous side of it after the race. But we're back under green flag conditions then, and Scott's coming under pressure from the Williams duo of J-Man and Muhiti. J-Man, of course, on some fresh, hard tyres at the moment. With Muhiti, he didn't come in. Let's just remind ourselves of who did come in as we went. So it was J-Man, Steve, and Frachma who all came in for some fresh rubber. So they're out on the track at the moment. And it's a change for the lead. They're going side by side at the moment. E-Waiter's got around the outside. He clearly had the better run on the inside of the previous corner. And E-Waiter has taken the lead. We just caught on to the end of that at the moment. But we got a battle for the lead going on right now. And behind them, Lawrence is eagerly waiting.
Yeah, great move from E-Waiter. Tier's not done yet, using the overtake, but not quite close enough to make a move into turn one. Lawrence is waiting on those hard tyres. Those mediums won't last forever,
Ooh.
And the hards will get better than them as Frachma and JB side by side as well through there. And I noticed the two Williams swap positions through team orders on the early in the last lap. So that was interesting as Muhiti now looks to defend from the McLaren, who's flying.
Yeah, he is flying on the medium compounder tyre. JBS Steve had a big moment coming out of turn number 1. That's why he now is at the back of the field at the moment as we go. But Lawrence is all over the back of Tier at the moment, who now has to defend from the Haas driver at the moment, who is all over the back of him, pushing him through the second sector.
Yeah, he's struggling at the moment after this restart. Tier, he's loving life before the safety car, but now seems to be struggling for pace as Frakma now down the inside of Muhiti in the beginning of sector 3. It's a great move from Frakma if he can pull it off. Muhiti keeps it around the outside, but Frakma takes the position. He's a bit deep into the next corner as Muhiti side by side again, but I think Frakma's got it done, and those fresher medium tyres helping out the McLaren driver up to 7th. He goes, but he's wide. He's lost the rear. Is there damage on the McLaren, Sumo?
No, I don't think there was any damage. He just kept it out of the wall, but it was a very dramatic incident, and JB now gets back ahead of the McLaren. I think these three are going to have a little bit of a tussle toward the back end of the field. Tier's closing in again. He's got the DRS, so he's going to be in there. There's still a 4-car fight at the front. This is going to be an exceptional bit of racing as well. There's a battle in the midfield too. The two Williams take on Scott. Actually, it's just the one Williams as Muhiti's dropped off a little bit in terms of pace as he now leads this train at the back.
Yeah, great racing so far here as Mr. J-Man trying to put pressure on Scott as well in the midfield. Tier gets to the first 3-second time penalty as he clatters over the chicane and loses position to Lawrence as well. And this is Tier's consistency coming back to bite him again as Crozer now is right in the back of the Aston Martin, and Tier looking very vulnerable in that green car. Here comes Crozer down the inside. Could he make a move? He looked to send it, but just sort of maybe tried to fool Tier a bit and nearly did, but Tier definitely scared off the track a little bit there by Crozer, and I think this move might be coming soon if Tier makes another mistake. But Crozer getting on that curb on the inside, that could have been very costly but wasn't quite, as now Scott has been able to catch back up thanks to all this.
Yeah, now more cars added to this train at the moment. E-Waiter has opened up the gap at the moment, but Lawrence is going to keep him honest perhaps. Lawrence, a seasoned veteran of APPF1 Tier 2, he knows how to lead a race, he knows how to put pressure on the leader as well. So this is going to be a very, very interesting battle. J-Man had a great exit of turn 2, was very close to the back of Scott as they come down the hill and then back up through turn 4 at the moment. The Williams trying to find a way through and get some pressure on. I think he's in a fairly good standing for when the drivers do come in for their pit stops.
Yeah, he definitely is. Obviously, those hard tyres will be struggling by the end of the race, but everyone in front of him has got to stop, and Mr. J-Man just looking to solidify that advantage by just staying with them for now, and they'll have to catch back up to him later on if there isn't another safety car. Hopefully there won't be, as Crozer right in the back of Tier again, nearly making a move into the same corner, but just decides against it as JB, Frakma and Muhiti still battling at the back as well.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting to watch the different lines that drivers take. Some drivers go wider on the exit of this last corner, some to keep it a lot sharper to the wall along the inside. All of them seem to gain or lose you some time, but here comes Crozer down the inside of Tier. Tier lost DRS. That was an easy pass for Crozer to make the Red Bulls now ahead, but Tier's going to try and go underneath him perhaps through the corner. He's going to try it alongside. He goes once again, trying to go the long way round. Is he going to do a Daniel Ricciardo and go all the way around the outside of turn number 2? Not quite. He's going to look to the outside of 3 at the moment, very close. Surely not up the hill now as we go in towards turn 4. He's trying to find a way past the Red Bull at the moment. He's clearly got pace. He's lacking ERS though.
He certainly is, only down to 25%, as that's Muhiti going very wide at turn 5. That's what we were talking about earlier. That corner can be very tricky, and Muhiti paying the price there on those old hard tyres. So he's going to have to try and catch back up, but this battle just keeps on going. Crozer out of range of Lawrence now, so the top two in their own races for now, but any mistake and they'll be straight back into this fight. As Scott and Mr. J-Man side by side there, Mr. J-Man absolutely sent it, and Scott just shut the door. He had every right to do so, and a little bit of contact, but I think they'll be okay. But Scott now out of DRS of Tier as a result.
Yeah, he is. And well, I was just looking at E-Waiter. He's broken away, but he's got very little ERS left in. So Lawrence might slowly reel him in once the tyres do start to go on a change for our leader at the moment. But J-Man's got to be careful. He's got the Red Bull of JBS Steve sniffing the diffuser at the moment, looking for any opportunity to make a pass for now. Scott, though.
Contact! Yeah, Mr. J-Man just hits the back of Scott, and Scott is into the wall, and J-Man, I think, has got a lot to answer for there, as he's forced off the road, but I mean, Scott had every right to do that, because he has no front end plate, as E-Waiter, big news, Sumo, E-Waiter gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits.
Oh dear, another track limits penalty doled out, and we know how crucial they can be to winning and losing races at the moment, but both of them down. I think J-Man's got back ahead of Scott, who's struggling with the damage. I think that might be one for Jackalacco to take a look at later on. So no putting your feet up, Jacko, for you, buddy. There's one report there for you. Maybe not we might not get as many as we did for Tier 1, but we'll wait and see. But Lawrence leading the way in terms of the fight for second place.
Yeah, but look who's closed up into DRS range suddenly. Crozer back in range of the Haas driver, and Tier's not that far behind either, but he lost DRS just then. Does he have it here? Yes, he does, just about, but he's got to stay within that range, and a little bit of a moment out of turn 1 is not going to help, as JB and Frachma close together as well. The McLaren looking good on those mediums still. Scott into the pits for hard tyres, changes his wing as well in that Alpine. He's going to be hoping for a safety car, as Muhiti also pitted the lap before, which I didn't notice. He's on the mediums now, but he'll struggle to make it to the end on those tyres.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame about that incident for J-Man. He was sat in a decent position fighting with Scott, and I think...
Oh! As Scott comes out the pit lane, and Muhiti just, I don't think, saw that he was coming out the pit lane, or maybe Scott understeered, I'm not sure, but... yeah, that's another bit of contact for Scott, who's not going to be a happy bunny in that Alpine. He's now been hit by both Williams in this race. Oh
dear, a bit of a vendetta against the Alpine reserve driver then at the Williams duo. But I think, as I was saying, he could have come out ahead. But look what's happened here. Lawrence is caught up to E-Waiter, as I said he would once the tyres start to go off, or perhaps a mistake from the AlphaTauri. But... now it's Lawrence hunting him down at the moment, with Krauser not too far behind as well.
Yeah, absolutely, but Lawrence has the advantage here. He's going to go on to the mediums later, and E-Waiter is completely out of ERS. Lawrence saw that flashing red light, so he knows the AlphaTauri is vulnerable now, and Crozer's got about half a battery as well, so E-Waiter in big trouble here, as Lawrence right on the back of him through that first sector.
Yeah, certainly ERS management is very, very important, especially at tracks where it's hard to overtake, and you've really got to learn how to use it in a way that is only when you need it, so that you've got it throughout the race. It's a resource. You need it. You need as much of it as you can, but when you do need to use it, you've got to have enough to be able to get the full advantage. And well, you lose so much pace in the car when you're dwindling on ERS at the moment, and it shows with our leader now being forced back into the clutches. Another time penalty for track limits handed out to Mr. J-Man now, and it's probably going to be lots of battles on track, a bit of a battle for strategy as well. And I was saying that J-Man could have been in it once the cars ahead of him pit, but is not. And well, speaking of cars pitting, Tier into the pit lane.
Here comes Lawrence down the inside of turn 1 on the race leader. E-Waiter tries to cut back as Lawrence goes deep, and E-Waiter does a fantastic job at that, and switches back on the Haas, but Lawrence has the DRS into turn 2. Is there going to be contact? Very, very nearly. You couldn't fit a piece of paper between the two of them, but Lawrence is finally ahead, and E-Waiter going to have to try and stay on the back of him, as that's Frachma round at turn 2. That's really unfortunate for the McLaren driver.
Oh, here goes Krauser right round the outside. He tried to go through. Oh. He's going to have a little look through in towards the chicane now. Surely not. Side by side through there. It was a good attempt from the Red Bull, who's got some pace to try and get past.
Yeah, and a little bit of contact as they went through, but the chicane, but that's to be expected when they were so close. And this has given Lawrence a golden opportunity here to get that gap up. But obviously these two are going to get the undercut. They're going to pit a little bit earlier than the Haas. I do wonder when the mediums are going to come in, because the time can't be too far away. As they come around the final corner, and yeah, it looks like E-Waiter is into the pits for a set of hards. He's seen enough, and he's going to try and get this undercut and get back ahead once all is said and done. But remember, Mr. J-Man hasn't stopped yet, or has stopped, but doesn't have to stop again, rather.
Yes, that's it. And if he can manage to get his head down and really put in some laps, he might be able to gain a bit more of an advantage on it. He's got some clear air now, unlike some of the other drivers, but things have calmed down a little bit. We're playing the game of strategy now as the pit stops start coming in. Fragma, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
And Tier has jumped E-Waiter in the pits. That one-lap undercut from Tier has worked wonders, and he's now ahead of the AlphaTauri. That's gained him about 2 seconds, that undercut, Sumo. And the Aston Martin up to P5 now as a result, and E-Waiter going to have to fight back into this. But that shows how powerful this undercut is around this track, Sumo, on this year's game. Fragma out of the pits on a set of hard tyres to the end, but not ideal at all for the McLaren with that 5-second speeding penalty.
A little bit staticky there, Ghost, on the mic at the moment. But yes, it was a very powerful overcut, and Tier ahead. And well, remember, these two, they're going to be fighting for position. They've both got time penalties, so they won't be affected after the race as far as their position goes if they were to finish near one another. But it's a big gap, and I wonder where Tier will come out compared to the other members of the top three at the moment. Krauser has really got some pace on these mediums in their later stages, though. He's reeling in Lawrence.
Yeah, he's got the DRS as well, somehow, from the detection point. So that's helped him a bit, but I think those mediums surely are going to start to drop off now. And I think we'll see the Red Bull peel into the pits, but as it stands, I think he'll come out behind Tier and E-Waiter because of how powerful that undercut is. So he's going to have to fight back into this one, but obviously no time penalty is going to be beneficial for him. And his Red Bull teammate JB isn't far behind either. And, well, in theory, JB can go to the end, same as Mr. J-Man, but I don't know how beneficial that will be. I think they will get caught before the end if they try that.
Yeah, but I think JB might just be in a position to give it a go. He's only a couple seconds down the road from the leading pair at the moment, and if he can keep his tyres in a good working window, he might just be able to pull it off. But he might even be hoping for a safety car in this middle section of the race to give him that free pit stop and put him into an elevated position.
Well, lest we forget what Krauser did in Monaco last season, just undercut everyone and won the race easily as he finally peels into the pits for a set of hard tyres. But where's he going to come out in relation to Tier and E-Waiter? He's behind Mr. J-Man, obviously, and Tier and E-Waiter already coming down the pit lane, and he's going to be behind both of them like I predicted. So Krauser has got it all to do here. The undercut, absolutely massive. That was, what, 3 laps, Sumo? Maybe even 2 laps. And Krauser has lost at least 6 seconds.
Wow, I think Tier may even come out ahead of Lawrence and JB once they come in.
He will.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. So uphill battle for those who have yet to stop as we see firsthand just how strong the undercut is. E-Waiter's still got no ERS in that AlphaTauri, so he's going to struggle to compete here as Krauser, he's got 5 seconds to try and get back, and I think he'll have come out that pits and been shocked at how far behind he is.
Yeah, E-Waiter just needs to try and conserve as much ERS as he can, try and regain it, don't need to try and use it. He's using it. Look at that poor decision from E-Waiter. That little bit of ERS usage is not really going to get him far. He needs to try and conserve it and try and gain back some of the time that he's losing. But Tier is closing in on J-Man at the moment, and yeah, I don't even think they're going to have to stop again, I think, if they want to try and get through JB and J-Man. But I don't know.
Yeah, Tier's definitely going to catch that 8-second gap to JB by the end, but obviously he has a time penalty, so it's not all sunshine and rainbows for the Aston Martin. E-Waiter's not too far behind. He's definitely caught up a few tenths in the last lap or so to the Aston Martin, as Tier now has to traverse past the Williams driver of Mr. J-Man sooner rather than later, but he can see the flashing red light. No, there wasn't. I must have been my imagination. I thought I saw a red light. But Tier is going to have the DRS. Will surely make a pass into turn one, but sitting behind this Williams is going to cost him an awful lot of time, and E-Waiter is going to be in the DRS range by the time he's passed. So Tier losing a lot behind Mr. J-Man.
Yeah, he is. He needs to try and get past as quick as possible. The fresh rubber may help him to do so. That's a good run. Looks to the inside now of turn number 13. Doesn't quite go for the move. He'll try and set him up for the DRS straight on the pit lane. Straight at the moment, maybe even further. This could invite E-Waiter to make a move through here, and he dives up the inside.
Whoa.
And it's just avoids contact between the two, but it affects Tier's exit at the moment. This could be 3 wide as they go down the main straight at the moment. Tier goes through into the inside, goes to the AlphaTauri, now goes to the inside of the Williams, tries to make a way through and goes late again on the brakes. Just manages to not make contact with the back of that Aston Martin. That was as close as you like.
Oh, brilliant racing between the three of them there. But Tier is ahead, and that's what he needed to do, because E-Waiter, of course, Tier won't know this, but E-Waiter has no ERS left. So as long as Tier just holds on to what he's got, he should be able to hold the AlphaTauri at bay. But he's also got to work on not getting any more time penalties, and we know how prone Tier is to those. But you can see just how much time he lost behind the Williams, as E-Waiter was 2 seconds behind just a lap and a half ago.
Yeah, indeed, and well, Tier would be a little bit gutted, but E-Waiter did manage to get through, but luckily no contact was made between the two of them as they go through at the moment.
You see that massive snap from E-Waiter?
No, I've just missed a massive snap from E-Waiter actually.
Through the fast right-hander on the exit, just about caught it, but that was very dicey as Lawrence into the pits from the lead. So JB now leads the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Yeah, here we go, and Tier's going to be a long, long way ahead. But Potato Lots is great commentating, great racing. Thank you, dude. If it's your first time here, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. All the support does go a long way. We're approaching the latter end at the moment, but it's such an undercut, isn't it, from Tier, who leaves Lawrence miles down the road.
I mean, that is Lawrence from just being on the hard and staying out longer than everyone else. I mean, that's got to be at least 13, 14 seconds that he's lost just from a pit undercut. That is absolutely insane, Sumo.
Yeah, it really is, and it just goes to show you how effective the undercut is at the moment. And well, Tier's mostly had clear air for the whole time as well. And well, other than E-Waiter's attempts at overtakes, has been relatively unchallenged, and well, JB, I think he's going to try and stay out, but Tier's going to get him in the long haul, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that gap was 9 seconds just a few laps ago. So Tier catching him probably around a second a lap at this rate. So JB is going to be in a real struggle here, although all those drivers with 3-second penalties could help the Red Bull out. And by the way, Tier has pulled over a second gap to E-Waiter. So the AlphaTauri now out of DRS and under pressure from Mr. J-Man, in fact. Oh, sorry, no, the other way around. Crozer putting pressure on J-Man. As Scott's retired, he's out the race, and that's a safety car. Perfect timing for JB and terrible timing for Lawrence, although it does bring him right back up to the pack again. But that is a fascinating twist to this race, and Frackmer will be delighted to see that, because he doesn't have to trundle around on his own anymore.
Yes, he absolutely will, and the safety car throwing up drama. Finley says goated commentary as usual from both of you. Thank you, Finley. Appreciate the kind words and the support as well at the moment. But we've got another safety car here at the Hungarian. Perfect timing for JBS. Steve Tier will be mortified. I was looking, Ghost, and it seems that most of the advantage comes from being on those fresher tyres. for that undercut, as Krauser really looked like he had a lot of pace in that Red Bull just before the safety car came out.
Yeah, he really did. And, well, JB is going to put on a set of mediums. He's going to come out behind everyone. Will he come out behind Lawrence? I think that's the main question. I think he will, but it won't be by much. He might even come out behind Muhiti, actually. It'll be close. Let's see.
Yeah, I think he may. Yeah, he may come out behind Muhiti as well.
Everyone in except Tyr.
Tyr stays out. Interesting call. Everyone going to go and put on the other set of medium tyres. Where's Lawrence? There he is. JB is exiting the pits. Ooh, he's coming toward the exit.
It's close
at the moment, but Lawrence is going to get it. This is going to be quite the fight at the front, I think, for the last few laps. I say probably about 9 laps of racing left in this race.
Oh, J-Man softs.
Wow. Softs for J-Man. I don't think that was the right call. We saw it in Tier 1. It was the same sort of thing. We had a safety car around this point in the race. A couple of drivers opted for the softs and they fell off after about 3 laps.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the same thing. It's definitely mediums the way to go. Fracma's gone for softs as well, just in a last-ditch effort to get something from this race. Obviously, everyone will score points here as long as they finish the race, but with 12 laps to go, this could be a grandstand finish here. Lawrence on those fresh-ish medium tyres, but they will die out before the ones behind. And the pace has been so close that honestly anyone could win, but my money's on JBS Steve, Sumo.
Yeah, JB's got the fresher tyres of the top 3 at the moment. Tyr's going to be a bit of a walking chicane, well, not walking, moving chicane at the moment as well. I really hope you didn't just call him that, little Manny man. What do you guys think about Ricciardo replacing De Vries, but he spelt it retardo?
Oh no!
It's a very unfortunate, very unfortunate typo. But it's 3-second time penalties for everybody with a penalty, Finley. To answer your question, but what do we think of Ricciardo replacing De Vries? You know what? It's not a shock if you're in amongst the Red Bull sort of camp. I suppose. I think, you know, Nick De Vries is an older driver, and I think what AlphaTauri were looking from him was a driver who had some racing experience over Yuki, if anything else, even if it wasn't in Formula 1, and they saw him, you know, performing well when he did come in those reserve roles, especially at Monza, as Tyr has a little kiss on the barrier just there, or just shy of one at least, as we're talking about it. But I think, you know, again, Formula 1, it's a sport we've got to perform, especially if you're a Red Bull / AlphaTauri driver. And if you don't put in the performances, well, you're going to be replaced. And I think, well, putting in Daniel Ricciardo in a car that has also had a big upgrade coming in for this weekend at the Hungaroring, it could be a, well, it could be a good way for Danny Rick to get his way back into Formula 1. And maybe in that second Red Bull seat down the line.
Well, the Red Bull staff have certainly spent a lot of time just absolutely ragging on De Vries in the press the last few days. It's been bordering on cruel, really. It's the vitriol that they've been spouting in the press, but that's just how Red Bull are. But here we go, safety car in this lap, back to the Tier 2 race. Tyr will lead us off, but on old, hard tyres compared to everyone on fresh mediums behind.
Yes, here we go then. Tyr getting the warmth in the tyres. A little bit of shenanigans going on at the back as well. But when is the Aston Martin going to get this race restarted? I think he's gone just about now. He has. And Lawrence is already all over him at the moment, trying to find a way through. There's a bit of drama at the back as well. There's a lot of other drivers. It's going to be 3 wide coming in towards turn number 1. It is going to be 3 wide of Williams and AlphaTauri. Lots of contact between them. That was very, very close between the lot. There's a lot of scrapping going on. Lawrence now has the lead of the race. Tyr is down into second. Then JB still where he is at the moment. He's under pressure from his teammate. Here comes J-Man down the inside of turn number 3 at the moment. He's going to go around the outside of turn number 4. No, he backs off at the moment. Smart decision, but almost takes the McLaren with him as he goes. And now here comes Muhiti around the outside.
And E-Waiter on the inside as well. It's all happening here on the restart. JB right behind Tier as well as they go through the chicane. One by one by one. It's so close between everyone. Lawrence has built a huge lead as Tier tries to defend, but everyone just swapping positions as JB and Tier side by side through a very unconventional place. Oh, and Crozer down to 5th, and there's big contact. Crozer, that's Mr. J-Man out the race. Huge contact between the two. Another safety car. I think J-Man just squeezed Crozer a bit too much there and ended up in the wall and out the race. Crozer's still in it, so we will have another safety car and a chance for Tier to peel into the pits for a set of, well, are softs now the choice, Sumo? Is it late enough that softs are good? We'll have to see what Tier decides. Crozer in as well, of course, for a new front wing, but that puts E-Waiter up to 4th, Fracma up to P3, and JB still in P2 just behind Lawrence.
Crozer's put on the hard compounder tyre, probably because he hasn't got any mediums left.
Yeah.
I still don't think softs are the way to go, in all honesty. They're not that good of a tyre, but that was absolute carnage on the restart. Finley says he was having flashbacks from turn 1 during the restart during Tier 1. Potato Lord says, my lord, you guys are smashing the commentary. F1 should hire you guys. They should. You know what? I've never really liked Will Buxton as a commentator. So if you ever do get rid of him, Formula 1, you know where I am.
Yeah, we're here.
We're here. We'll do it. And Jolyon Palmer as well.
Yeah.
Subpar Formula 1 driver and not the best commentator either.
Good analyst, but
you know what? I don't know who my sort of dream pairing would be, but it wouldn't be Crofty. But I know Jenson Button would be a great of co-commentator. I always have a good time when Jenson Button's up alongside Crofty.
Well, yeah, Tia has gone for the soft gamble in the meantime. But, yeah, I don't know who my commentary pair would be. I do like Alex Jake, but is he part of my dream commentary pairing? I'm not sure.
You know what,
Ben Edwards. Really say.
Ben Edwards was always good.
Yeah, he's good.
On Channel 4.
Yeah. Tia and Crows are both in again. Going for the gamble. Are they both going to go for softs? I assume so. Just getting an extra lap to get those softs in. It could be a very good decision. They're both at the back. Why not? As Crozer in for... No, Crozer's gone for the medium, so he's just getting the hards off. And Tier... Oh, he's replacing his front wing. He must have taken damage somehow.
Oh, Tier, what have you done?
But it is another set of softs for him. I credited him with a bold strategy call, but it was just repairing damage.
Oh, look where Fracma finds himself. He's in the top 3, Ghost.
Yeah, but he is on those soft tyres that are going to struggle by the end, and E-Waiter's going to be right behind him, but 3-second penalty on the AlphaTauri, 3-second penalty on Tier as well at the back. Hopefully everyone keeps it clean from now on. It would be good, because that last safety car restart was a bit of a shambles. But yes, we'll see. Everyone, as long as you finish, you'll score points.
Yes, well, it's like a busy night for the Tier 2 stewards. And this time it's not me. I forgot I was a steward halfway through comms on Friday. I was commenting on how the stewards would have a busy night, and then I realised it was me. But, you know, we move on. But I think we're going to get underway in a moment. The safety car should come in now. Look at that. There we go. I just know the game so well, but we're off once again, and it's looking like Lawrence versus JB. I think this will be the fight to watch. Don't count out E-Waiter, even though he's got that penalty. Maybe Muhiti can get himself back in. Kraus is always a good shout as well. He knows what he's doing, but it's Lawrence leading the way now. one of the many leaders that we've had. We've had Lawrence, we've had E-Waiter, and we've had Tier leading this race. But Lawrence has gone very, very early, has caught JBS Steve napping, and has already pulled away to almost a second. A great restart from Lawrence. Has it under control. E-Waiter trying to go up the inside of the McLaren, who squeezes him as much as he can toward that pit wall at the moment. Side by side they go through the first corner now, and it's still side by side as they emerge down towards turn number 2. It's going to be the outside line for the AlphaTauri. Can he get away around at the moment? No, he looks to switch to the inside though as they go through. There's been contact from the back. Crozer and Tier
both
together.
around. A disaster for them, but these three at the front still battling along. Muhiti trying to find a way through as well. E-Waiter just wants to get past this McLaren, who's costing him a huge amount of time already to the leaders. Lawrence building up a gap to JB already, but JB obviously just wants to secure a podium position for himself and his team, as Crozer's going to have to come round and finish in last place unless there's another safety car. But E-Waiter still putting the pressure on this McLaren. Here we go, what an exit he got there. Down the inside he goes towards this corner in sector 3, and there's still side by side room left by both. Great racing between them, still side by side through the penultimate corner. Muhiti's trying to find a way through as well. Frachma defending really well, but E-Waiter will surely get past now, but no, a much better exit from the McLaren, as E-Waiter really struggling to make this move. Muhiti as well is there, but here they go towards turn 1 again.
Muhiti's trying to make a free wide, perhaps trying to find a way through. He was all over the back of E-Waiter in the exit at the moment. This McLaren is really putting out the elbows at the moment, but finally E-Waiter finds a way through. Little shaky from the McLaren out of turn 1, and E-Waiter finds himself onto the podium, but Frachman's all he's got to do is stay within that 3 seconds, but he's got Muhiti for company as well, who's looking sharp. He's looking for a way past this McLaren on those soft tyres. He's trying to find a way. He's poking at turn 4. He's around the outside of 5, and he's got it done. That was an exceptional move.
He just scared Frachma off the track. Muhiti had no intention of making the move into turn 5. It was just scaring Frachma off the track, and it worked perfectly. Frachma down to P5 as a result, and E-Waiter trying to push to catch up to JB, but I think Lawrence is going to run away with this one in the end. But Tier and Crozer still just chugging away at the back, getting those points for finishing the race. But all these guys are still battling. Frachma trying to stay on the back of Muhiti with those aging soft tyres, but it's not to be. I think those softs are already done in comparison to the mediums.
Yeah, they are, and DRS is enabled once again. We're in the dying stages. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more laps of racing left to go at the moment. And it's, well, E-Waiter's now got the job of breaking the 3 seconds from Muhiti, who is going to make it hard for him. He's going to stay with him, and I must say, Muhiti, he's not quite been his Ferrari form from a couple of seasons ago. He certainly has upped his game at the moment, and look at this. The dreaded audio error returns to the F1 games. That was awful. That really made F1 22 undrivable for the early part of its time with us.
At least it seems to only be in spectator mode this time, but it's still bad news for us. Yeah, Muhiti still within DRS range. Frachma falling off as we expected. In fact, Tier could be on for P5 here. He's got much fresher soft tyres than the McLaren. He does have that 3-second penalty, but it's definitely possible for him to pull that time before the end. There's only 5 laps to go, but almost within DRS already, as Muhiti now is going to have a chance on E-Waiter into turn 1.
Yes, he is. He's got the DRS now, and E-Waiter has used all of his ERS reserves already. So I was just commenting on how he would have had more to use after all these safety car periods, but he's lost it all already, only within a matter of laps, and that's going to leave him vulnerable to Muhiti, who he's a seasoned Tier 2 driver. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get himself past other drivers and win races. He's had a bit of poor form as of late, but he looks to be a little bit more toward the sharp end, at least in this early race of the season. Long way to go yet. This is only round 1 of 10, but the Williams looking set for a podium. Tier's round.
Oh no. Well, there goes his shot at P5, and it could be Kroza's shot at P6. It certainly will be. The Red Bull now within 3 seconds, and that will be a point changed between the two of them. But Tyr does have the fastest lap and will likely keep it.
Yeah, E-Waiter's catching up to JBS Steve here. He's really pushing to try and get through. I think he's desperate to break that 3 seconds from Muhiti, but in doing so, he's lost a lot of that advantage that the ERS would have given him at the moment, and Muhiti's using it well. He knows how to save his ERS, knows what he's doing. Lawrence has very little ERS as well, but I don't think he needs to worry about that. 3.8 seconds is the gap as he starts lap number 33 at the moment. Our eyes are on this final place of the podium. Here he comes, very late to the inside, brakes as late as he dares. At the moment, E-Waiter gives the space, goes off the track a little bit, but wouldn't be forced off, and that was the move from Muhiti, late on the brakes, and a decent move in toward the turn as well. And I think E-Waiter will struggle to get back past, and now Muhiti is going to set his sights on JBS Steve, I think.
Yeah, definitely could be still P2 on the cards for the Williams driver as they go through this second sector. E-Waiter, I think, has just got to focus now on making sure he finishes 3 seconds ahead of Frachma to secure that 4th place, as Kroza gets past Tyr further back as they continue their battle after their contact earlier on that's put them in the situation they're in. But coming into the last couple of laps now after this one, but E-Waiter still right behind Muhiti, and Muhiti's out of ERS now as well, so I think JB will be safe in P2. So it's just all about whether Muhiti stays on the track. I'll let you commentate, Sumo, and I'll just check on Muhiti's track limits violations.
Yeah, let's go then. So it's Muhiti and E-Waiter putting on a bit of a show for us for this final place on the podium. But all Muhiti's got to do is keep it within the white lines. And as we wait to find out, it's the DRS for E-Waiter. The penultimate lap has begun, and he's going to sort of wait behind him. I think Tyr's going to go for the fastest lap. In the meantime, he's into the pit lane in the Aston Martin. And, well, P7 and fastest lap wouldn't be a bad way to start it off. Although with his qualifying performance, he could have been up toward the top, and if it wasn't for those errors throughout the race, consistency is king in Formula 1, and if you can be consistent, you can also be fast as well. That's what you've got to work on when it comes to these games at the moment. But it's Muhiti versus E-Waiter, and what's the track limits violations here then, Ghost?
I'll give you one guess as to how many warnings he's got, Sumo.
2?
0.
0. Wow.
0 warnings the whole race. Very impressive from the Turkish driver, and so he should secure this P3 unless a disaster happens in the last lap, and it wouldn't be unlike the Muhiti of last season for a disaster to happen on the last lap. Muhiti very accident prone last season, to put it one way, but seems like on the new game he's more up to speed with the car, and he's less prone to those errors. So could we see the Muhiti of old make a return? I certainly hope so, and it looks like he's on his way to a podium today.
Yes, it does, and round he goes then through the first corner for the final time. Going along, meanwhile, JB's caught up a little bit to Lawrence. Actually, that gap has come way down. Finley's pointing that out as well in the live chat. This could get spicy, Ghost. What's happened to Lawrence here? Has the tyres just dramatically fallen off, or perhaps Lawrence is putting on some pace because he's a reserve driver and wants JB to win the race? Maybe, who knows? But we've got some drama for the lead of the race now. Within 9/10 of a second is Lawrence. Surely Lawrence wouldn't do that. In there. No, I doesn't think he's done that, but he's definitely lost a lot of pace at the moment as JB is catching up on him. E-Waiter not very close as well, and Muhiti's not looking like he's going to, but only 3 corners now to navigate for our leader in the Haas at the moment, reserve driver, and well, a championship winning driver as well, although maybe he's run out of fuel perhaps. That might have been what happened. The flashing red fuel light is on that car. He's very low at the moment, but I think he's just going to make it. It's only a short run to the line as Lawrence comes over the line to win the first round of Tier 2 Season 8 with JB coming home second. Muhiti on the podium, a return to form perhaps for the Turkish driver. E-Waiter, a good debut from him in P4, was fighting in amongst the sharp end as well. Frachma, a good debut as well, maybe lucky with the safety car. not the best strategy from him during that time. Here's Krauser coming home in P6, and Tier, he's going for the fastest lap. Is he going to take it? 4/10 up on his previous. Comes round the final corner now. Is it going to be the fastest lap for the Aston Martin for that extra bonus point?
Yes. Great stuff from Tier there. And yeah, well done to everyone who finished that race. That was a tricky one out there by the looks of it. But Sumo, that is Muhiti's first podium finish since season 5. And this is season 8, by the way. So it could be a return to form for Muhiti. I do hope so. It would be great to see a good championship fight. But of the permanent drivers, JB will take the early championship lead.
Yes, he will, and well, other drivers dropped the ball during the session, but Lawrence did not, and neither did JB, and they were there to pick up the pieces, and well, a huge congratulations to Muhiti returning to the podium. That'll be a big confidence boost going in. I think we're heading over now to the party for some interviews, so do stick around. We're not done yet, folks. Hopefully the game doesn't crash. That's a known bug as well in these F1 games during this time. Sorry to blue screen everybody. I know you wanted to see the podium celebrations that are into the APPF1 Tier 2 Season 8 chat we go. Waiting for some interviews, but let's run you through the finishing order then for this opening round of the season. It's Lawrence who finishes on the top step, and as far as the permanent drivers go, JB will be the leader of the drivers championship going forward, but he flanks Lawrence alongside Muhiti as well on the podium. Then there's E-Waiter, Frachma, Krauser, Tier, J-Man, Scott and Palang, who all didn't finish the race, with Tier coming home in your final finisher.
Oh, great race. And just saying how good a race that was and how they enjoyed it. So good to see. But yeah, tough start to the season, but well done to everyone there. That was a great race to watch. We'll see if we can get Lawrence, JB and Muhiti in the party chat for interviews. I'm just going to ping them and see.
And while we're doing that, Ghost, we've got most laps led to do.
I'm not sure if I can track that stat anymore, but
no.
I will, if I can, I'll find out. I'm going to say, if Lawrence continues driving in Tier 2, I'll say Lawrence, but if he doesn't, I will say, I'll go with Robsu.
I'll go with JB on that one, just to be different. Well,
I like that prediction.
There we go. That's our predictions now. So I've got them noted down on my phone. I've also got them immortalised in stream form out there on the interwebs for people to to go through. We're waiting for our drivers. There's one to get into the party chat, but 5 people watching. The 2 of you who haven't liked the stream, you know who you are. Please do drop a like. All of the support goes along. Well, now 4 people watching, so clearly avoiding liking the stream, of course, but subscribe all as well if you haven't done so already. I do really appreciate all the support for the streams that we run. There we go, all of our drivers punctual as ever, into the into the chat now for some interviews. And I think we're all ready. I mean, you've got to make sure your voices are going to be heard over the stream as well. But I will start by saying congratulations, Lawrence. That's another win under your belt in tier number 2, and it looked like quite a fun race out there. And well, even though you're a reserve driver, you certainly weren't holding anything back.
Yeah, my love affair with first races of this season continues. So that'll probably be my only win of the season so far. Well, for now. Yeah, it was a good race. I was surprised in the difference in pace from Friday today. I did have a little bit of rear wing damage on Friday, so the car felt a lot more comfortable today. The hards went quite well, but also the mediums were quite good as well. I mean, our Krauser on the first half of the stint, he was on mediums. He didn't pit at all under the safety cars, and he was on my tail pretty much, and even closing me down. So yeah, it was picking the right moment for the pit stop and executing it. It was a shame. It was a shame the safety cars came out towards the end, because I think it would have been a lot more interesting tactical battle that we got denied, really.
Yeah, it is a shame that did sort of happen, and we sort of saw that over the course of the stream. But it did make for a lot of close racing though, those safety cars, and we saw you expertly restart the race though. But we did notice JB catching up. Was that just a bit of a lack of pace? You didn't have too much ERS toward the end, or was JB really just pushing you? What was going on in those final moments?
So I was one warning away from having a 3-second penalty.
Ooh.
So I absolutely gunned it to try and build a cushion, because I was expecting to get the penalty. And then the last 2 laps my tyres were just dead, and I noticed he was catching me hand over fist. If there was another lap, I'm quite sure he would have probably had me.
Yeah, certainly. You look very close through sector number 2 then, but well, I mean, I can't talk too much about the championship, I suppose, because you're a reserve driver, but do we expect to see you jumping in for some races on Tuesdays often, Lawrence?
I'm always here if you need me. Depends on my work situation, but yeah, if you guys ever need me to come in, you know what to do.
Well, with the current state of Tier 2, we definitely need you at the moment, but it's good to have you on the grid, Lawrence. And one other thing I'll say is it was a good battle with you last week around Bahrain.
Yes, that was really good. It was a good battle. I was surprised. I was just surprised how pacey you was, and I think it was the safety car thing caught you out at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was a good little fight. Should have gone onto the soft tyres, but yeah, that was it. Well done today, though. Another win under your belt for Tier 2, and I'm sure we'll see you a few more times for some more reserve appearances.
Yeah, thank you very much. Congratulations to JB and Mahiti on the podium, and also thank you very much, guys, for your commentary.
No problem. Right, I will hand over to Ghost for an interview with our very own George Russell.
JB, you're back on the podium again, and P2 today, but how was that race for you? Obviously a bit up and down for pretty much everyone on the grid, so how did you feel over the course of that one?
Yeah, as you kind of said, consistency is key. Yeah, it was not a great start in quali. I was 8th, obviously, but I was looking on the 2 of the laps that I could have improved, so that was already a setback. And then from there, it was just a case of I was looking at Tier 1's race on Friday, saw a couple of drivers were on the softs and they weren't working too well, so I was going to start on the mediums, hope for that early safety car to then go onto the hards, and then see what goes on. Either try and nurse them towards the end, or maybe come in for another set of mediums. So it was kind of that, like working through that for the time being, and then obviously making my way through other people. It was a bit of a struggle to get past Tier at one stage. I think he might have had wing damage. I think he clipped the wall under safety car, I think. But I was like measuring myself because I was alongside him going towards the chicane. I think that's in sector 2, but I thought back out. Just wait and stay patient, really. And then I was catching Lawrence towards the end. I was kind of like hoping if I could kind of like get back towards him, it might pressure him to push and see if he could get a penalty. But hats off to him. He stayed within the lines and won the race. But overall, I'm very, very happy. Start off the season with a podium.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff for you. And to start off the season, obviously 9 rounds to go. Not going to be thinking about championships yet, but it's certainly a good start for you. Was at the end, it seemed like you were catching up to Lawrence quite quickly. Just in the last maybe couple of laps or so, did your driving change when you realised that gap was coming down, or did you just keep it together and just were you confident that Lawrence wasn't going to lose it at the last?
Yeah, it was obviously just keeping it together, see if I could push in like certain areas of the track and see what happened. Really, I wasn't sure what would happen with Lawrence, but I thought you got to give it every option. But it is what it is, and second place is a great start to the season still. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, good to see you back on the podium. May it happen many more times this season. And,
yes, fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll hand over to Sumo to interview Muhiti, who's on the podium for the first time since season 5.
Maybe finish the race for the first time since season 5.
Yeah, well, it's good to have you back on the podium, Muhiti. Perhaps a return to form for yourself. And well, it started off as a bit of a tough race, as you had a lot of incidents toward the start, which saw you down toward the back. But run us through, how was that for you, that whole race in general?
First of all, qualifying, I think I had a little bit more in it. I could grab pole maybe if I hooked a lap like I wanted to. For example, in Tier 1 on Friday, I was 4-5 tenths quicker, I think. But yeah, that was nowhere here. And then I started with the hards while no one else did, and yeah, it was so bad. I lost 6 positions in 3 corners, and then I was backing off because like the drivers in front of me were a bit slower, and then one guy tapped me in the back and I went on the grass. I lost 5 to 10 seconds there maybe. Then after the first safety car, I had contact at the Alonso Hamilton corner. No one was backing out between me and the McLaren, and yeah, I got wing damage. I lost maybe 10-15 seconds there as well. So I'm lucky that there came another safety car and that I didn't have a 3-second penalty, which brought me into P3. And yeah, then of course Krause and Thier had a moment, I think. So I had no like pressure from behind anymore. So I was lucky, but like not that I deserved to be on the podium, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying that you could have, would have probably snatched pole in those final moments.
Yeah, I mean,
during qualifying.
One lap pace, I'm very fast here, but in the race, last sector, the last 2 turns, I lose so much time. Every time I look at the deltas, like I'm catching up in sector 1 and 2, and then the last 2 corners, it's all gone. And then the exit of the last corner was always horrendous. My overtake to P3 was also like very late, and because I had like a lot more battery than the AlphaTauri driver, so yeah, I have to work on that part of the track.
Yeah, those final 3 corners are very deceptive when it comes to easy. Yeah, they're easy as you go around them.
Yeah.
But yes, it's first podium since season 5, and how are you finding this year's game? Are you finding it a lot more easier to keep the car under control? Finding it a lot more easier to get the sort of performances that you had back when you were alongside Bobby Alex in your championship winning days?
Yeah, I think last game I struggled a lot with like corner exits and I spun a lot, and in this game it's less intense, I think. For example, in Hungary last year I was P2 and I spun 3 times on my own at like the first sector, but now I do the same like amount of braking and accelerating, and I like don't feel the instability that I had last game, so I'm happy with this game. But still, I had again a race with a lot of contact and incidents, which I have been having for like the last maybe 20 races, so it has to improve. It's bad. But it's the first step, like finishing a race and on the podium as well, so I'm happy.
Yeah, for sure. And well, I think one sentiment that always works true in Tier 2 is that you've got to be in it to win it, and it's certainly those drivers who finish in those decent positions, especially early on, are the ones that end up being toward the sharp end of the championship. But it's good to have you back on the podium, Muhiti.
Yep.
A good
It's
confidence
to be
boost
back.
for you going
exactly.
forward. But yeah.
Nothing else to say. Congrats to the others as well, and thank you for the stream and the organization of the race.
No problem, my friend. Well, I hope you have a good one, and I hope everyone else has a good one. But because that's it, we're done. That's the final round. Not the final round, but the final round of interviews, I suppose, for now. But so I'll run you through the calendar then for next time as we keep going. Next week we're in Qatar on the 25th of July. Then for the 1st of August we're in Las Vegas. Then on August 8th we're in France at Paul Ricard. Then it's a trip to Zandvoort on August 15th. Then Silverstone on the 22nd, Singapore on the 29th, and then through September on the 5th we are in Kota. For the 12th we have Montreal, and then for the 19th is Spielberg. Quite a challenging list of tracks, Ghost, and well, you're the creator of this, and there's been a few people who've thrown a bit of mud your way for it, but I personally think it's a very very challenging calendar, and will definitely give the drivers some work to do.
Yeah, it is a challenging calendar. I mean, it's the reason being it contains all the tracks that we haven't done in the last 2 seasons, and that's how I usually build calendars. Yeah, I mean, people can be unhappy about the ordering of it, and I understand that, having sort of Hungary and then the 2 new tracks as the first 3. I can understand where they're coming from, but I think a good challenge early in the game is a good way for everyone to get in the groove faster with the new game. So and it often creates a more exciting championship as well. So we'll see how it goes, but I think it'll be good.
Yes, I think so too. It will be very, very good. But that's going to be everything then. A huge thank you to everyone who was in the live chat. Thanks for your participation. It does help us when there are moments that are a little bit dull in the race, but Tier 2 racing is never dull. There's always something going on. Thank you to everyone who left a like on the stream. If you're watching after the fact, then perhaps do leave a like on there if you've made it all the way to the very, very end. As all the support does go a long way. Share us around as well. Get the word out there for APPF1 as well. And, well, like I say, if you have any friends who are on PS4 or PS5, whichever one they're on, and want to come and race with us, then we need more Tier 2 drivers, and it would be very nice to have some fuller grids. But that's everything from me. Is there anything from you, Ghost?
Nothing from me. Nothing else from me. It's a good start to the season, and may it continue, but hopefully with bigger grids from now on.
Yes, and again, right, one more big thank you to everyone who watched. A big thank you to all the drivers who turned up to race today. And as always, I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you next time for a race around the Qatar circuit. See you later.